Welcome to episode 101 of Star Wars and Scotch. I'm Kevin, joined by Tim as always. Tim.
Hey. Hi.
We apologize for no episode last week, but Hurricane Ian decided to come our way, so we thought it would be safe to close the office down. And
what a shit show.
Yeah, Tim's mom's house got wrecked, so Tim had to go over to the coast and take care of business. But well, I guess we're technically on the coast, but south.
Go down
and,
south, yeah.
Help out there. So yeah, we didn't do any programming last week. We managed to squeeze the Rings of Power watch party in before we shut the offices down, which was pretty much the only thing we could do. And then it was weird because I didn't watch Andor first thing in the morning. I watched it Wednesday night.
Yeah, same.
Yeah, it was a little weird to be like the whole day. But I wasn't sure if my power was going to stay on.
Right.
So, and then I put it on and I was like, I swear to God, if the power turns off halfway through this episode, I will be livid. Because I had played video games most of the afternoon at that point, just waiting for it to turn off. It was wild to just sit there. Well, Wrath of the Lich King remaster or classic came out on Monday. So I was like, great. Storm comes through and I can't level my classic tune.
That's bullshit, Kevin. I'm so sorry.
No, it worked out. I didn't lose power. You didn't lose power. So
okay.
Yeah.
Well, then I'm not sorry.
Thankfully, Tampa fared well, and you know, our staff is good. But yeah, so that's why we weren't here last week. But today we're going to talk about episode 4 and 5 of Andor. We got a little bit of news, but before we go any further, I just placed an order yesterday. I unfortunately am not allowed to use any of the codes we have available out there now. But if you want to know about some of the 10% off codes, you can go watch the Rings of Power watch party on my Twitch channel, or you can go check out our D&D session that we're currently doing for Rings of Power on Robert's channel.
Oh my God, last night was so much fun.
This battle is intense. He just keeps bringing it.
Yeah, it was wild.
Yeah, so that Cloud Rune, by the way, I was frantically searching.
Dude, we have some really cool abilities. I went looking for that Sentinel ability. That's a reaction skill that I don't have, and I think it's just because of my class. We're different classes. Interesting. Yeah, we're Rune Knights, but then we branch off into different stuff. I'm like a barbarian, so I've got more like really more attacky stuff.
Yeah, we also have different weapons, so I think that's probably why.
Yeah, it might be because you're greatsword. Anyways, it's really fun. You should come check it out next week. We're putting the video up on our YouTube as well very soon, so stay tuned.
Yeah, but if they come hang out, they can get the 10% off code for King's Coast Coffee.
Yeah.
And King's Coast, I'm not going to tell you here. You got to go to either one of those places to get it. I'm not telling you here because it's not for Star Wars. It's for Lord of the Rings, so deal with it. But yeah.
Too bad we don't have calf. Some King's Coast calf.
You know, Glam was talking about that yesterday. He was like, why don't you guys just do a calf roast? And I'm like, I'm terrified of Disney. That's why I don't want to do a calf roast.
Yeah. But what if we did?
Bob would use that as a way to make an example out of all the shit talk.
Oh my God. Okay, I forgot to tell you about this, but when we went on our cruise a couple of weekends ago, I didn't even get to talk about that.
Well, let's start with the cruise and then we'll talk about Andor. Let's go to that kingscoastcoffee.com. Make sure you tune into Rings of Power stuff to save 10% off.
Anyways, when we went to Castaway Cay, there was a Bob Chapek sign that said Bob Chapek, Master Shipbuilder. And I thought of you and I was like, Kevin would burn this bitch to the ground.
You just Florida man arrested for defacing sign at Cast.
And then Bob Iger had a sign a little bit farther down the way, but it wasn't as like Bob Chapek, Master Shipbuilder, like just really pissed me off.
Yeah, I would have burned it in front of the children and been like,
"This is really cool.
Where's your god now?"
Fuck you, Bob.
Yeah, you were sending me pictures. I'd love to hear verbally about the experience.
Well, I mean, so the Star Wars bar, the hyperspace canteen or a hyperspace thing. It was all right. It was, for a little bar experience on a cruise ship, it wasn't that bad. I did not get the $5,000 drink though. The reason why it's $5,000 is because they put Pappy in there and a few other things. But it's like a ridiculous.
Does it come in a Camtono?
It comes in a Camtono, and I saw it sitting there on the counter. But they use this like smoke machine a lot for a lot of your drinks to give it kind of like this special space effect. But it was cool. Like, and they have a screen behind the bar. And so like there's like little like fight scenes that'll happen. Like we went to Coruscant, and there was like the Trade Federation versus the Republic, and they were fighting it out, and it was cool. And like you jump in a couple other places, but that was about it. Like it was neat, but it wasn't like a you've gotta go kind of moment.
Yeah. Well,
there you go. There's my cruise ship experience. Much like the other cruise ship experience, it was cool, but not worth it.
Yeah, with StarCruiser, apparently they're still sending out surveys to try and figure out why people won't go.
Oh, I don't know. Global recession. It costs too much. It costs too much.
It costs too much?
It costs too much.
Yeah, a lot of the news coming out. I got an article yesterday that they're not doing the Cinderella lights on the castle this year for Christmas.
Shut the fuck up. What?
Yeah,
You're not lighting the castle?
I don't know if they're not lighting the castle, but they're not doing the Cinderella twinkle lights that they normally do.
Oh,
the ones that look like the icicles.
I wonder if they're just going to lean into the projector more.
I have a feeling that that's their plan because it's cheaper.
Yeah, but you can also do more with it though.
Back in my day, we had people out there putting out individual lights on that castle.
Yeah, and that's what matters to me. So more of the.
It's not Christmas until Mickey's out there stringing the lights. God damn it!
I'll give props where props are due, though. Din and Grogu and Boba are now walking around Galaxy's Edge, which is awesome. So I might have to make a trip over there next year. I'm not going this year because I'm going to Universal Studios at the end of the year, by the way, chat.
Still not
I'm going to go experience Harry Potter because Universal Studios. Well, now that I've seen all the movies, I can enjoy the Hogsmeade and Hogwarts a little bit more. So, yeah, but maybe next year I'll go and
still pisses me off that the timeline is all fucky in Black Spire Outpost.
They threw it out the window, I guarantee you.
I wish they would just say that.
I mean, one of the main points I saw a TikTok video. I don't know if I sent this one to you. When the woman was talking about the survey they're sending out, she's like, yeah, it's the price, but you want to know what else it is your target demographic that has the money to go to this. They're in love with the original trilogy. They are not in love with your sequel trilogy. Mm-hmm. You might have even been able to get away with it from a prequel standpoint, but they are in love with the original trilogy. If you catered to that, I guarantee your sales would have gone up way more for the chance to be around like Darth Vader and stuff rather than Kylo Ren. And I was like, she's right. If it was Vader, I probably would have made more of an effort to go. I'm not going to lie.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, like, I understand like why they went for more like the more recent stuff to stay relevant. It's just they leaned into this whole like it's gonna tell a story, and like if you want to experience the full Star Wars story, you got to go to Black Spire Outpost, because if you want to know what happens between 8 and 9, well, it's gonna happen there. Right. And it's just like they like it was so much promise, but at the same time we're like, how are they gonna pull this off? Why don't they just do like this Star Wars land that encompasses everything, so you can go everywhere from episode 1 to episode 9 and everywhere in between, which is now what they're doing. But a lot of the stuff is hard locked, like the Millennium Falcon's there, but then you've got like Kylo Ren's ship, you've got all these like newer things, and so how do you explain that?
Yeah, I mean it's them trying to copy and paste Marvel and Star Wars, and every time they do this, it doesn't work. Like it works for Marvel because every time something new comes out, they march out an actor to walk around Avengers
instantly.
campus.
The day after Moon Knight's on campus. Like, that's so
cool. They have zombie Captain America at night right now walking around from What If. So it works for Marvel, but it doesn't hit the same way for Star Wars. They tried this with the movies, and then they realized, oh my God, TV shows work for Star Wars, not movies.
Yep.
So it's part of the learning curve, and they're going to expand that area. There's room behind it, like on the other side where the StarCruiser isn't, that you can expand out. So they're going to do more there.
Sure.
I just don't know if it'll stay. I think they should have made it an evergreen area that included different sections that represented different timelines and different parts of planets and whatnot, rather than make it like this one full RP experience, because that's what they keep seeming to do, is push people to RP.
Yeah.
And most people are not going to RP. I'm fine with it. I would love to go on StarCruiser and RP. I'm not paying $6,000 to do it.
Nope.
I'll freaking go in a field and LARP with a bunch of people and do some Warhammer before I do that.
Definitely RP with us.
Yeah, and that'd be fine, but I am not gonna pay $6,000 to do it. It's just not happening.
No.
So we will see what they do. But that was the cool news from the park. There was also a TikTok video that went viral. I don't know if you saw it this week. Person's name is Miami Vader, and he he goes down by Miami Beach and
Is he dressed as Vader?
With stormtroopers and stuff.
Ah, okay.
And there was a kid with Down syndrome that went to go take a picture with him, and Vader had to break character because the kid was like so happy. He like mouths "I'm happy right now" and like grabs Vader's hand to hold it, and Vader's like holding his hand and then letting him look at his lightsaber and stuff. And I was like, that's that moment that you have to decide like between your craft and this kid, and they made the right choice in my opinion, rather than trying to still be Darth Vader, which I thought was cute. So
yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, it's really cute. If you see it, it should pop up in TikTok. It's Miami Vader is the name of the person that posted the video.
I love that.
Yeah, a little feel good Star Wars, but feeling good. Let's jump into Andor. Episode 4 I loved. Episode 5 was definitely just filler to get us
episode
to the heist.
Episode 4 definitely, like, it set the tone. I wish 4 and 5 was just one episode. It's like I think it's so cool. Like as soon as we got like halfway through episode 4, I was like, oh, aha, I understand how we're gonna get 2 seasons of this, because it's just gonna be Cassian doing a bunch of just badass robbery shit. Like he's just gonna be stealing things. He's gonna be doing like spec ops missions. Like it's just gonna be a bunch of really cool Star Wars stuff. And like they're gonna lean into the Western narrative that like George Lucas wanted. They've got like the samurai style, and then that amalgamation of samurai and Western. So lean into that Western, and I'm getting that vibe more and more, especially like the way like the regalia is for a lot of the actors, the weaponry. It's just got a lot of just like these old timey Western vibes to it. I love it.
Tim, it's a train heist.
It is a train heist. It's like that's what it is. This is just like it is Red Dead Redemption. It's Red Dead Redemption in space, and I think it's so cool.
I found it interesting this episode where Skeen he knew something was off. I mean, they all knew something was off, but he was willing to go the extra mile, and you could tell that guy's perceptive as hell. And
he might be also a little.
I mean, you have to be to do what they're about to do.
Yeah, you do have to be.
In all fairness. Yeah, I mean, they're that what they're doing is
the garrison looks terrifying.
And the fact that 3 days before no one knew how to fly the ship.
Oh, that was the other part where it's just like they're just like, how do you do it? He's like, what do you mean? How do you do? You don't know?
Yeah, it's the we're testing you. You passed the test. Good job, guy who knew exactly what to do. They didn't know how to do it. So
yeah, that was good.
Rewinding back to episode 4. So obviously we got to learn a lot about Luthen. We were both wrong about who he is.
Oh man, I really thought he was going to be some aristocrat.
I actually think it's cooler that he has this shop.
Yeah, he's a peddler.
Because that was like Easter egg central of that shop.
It was so crazy when it just opened up and he just started just naming things off. It's like, oh.
I mean, we saw. Okay, I'm scrolling down to the bottom, and I'll scroll back up to get.
I didn't see that threw me for a crazy loop, Kevin, was freaking Starkiller's armor.
So they have
They
have the ancient Sith assassin armor, which if you play Force Unleashed, I believe it's 2. I can't remember which game it is.
The second one.
It is 2. 2. If you go the dark side route, you get this armor at the end of the game, and then you can replay it as an NG plus with the Sith assassin armor. It's the ancient Sith assassin. No, it does not confirm Starkiller is canon, but
and they pulled that right out of the game, though.
I mean, we haven't really seen it anywhere else. But yeah, it is ancient Sith assassin armor. Maybe it showed up in some of the Old Republic stuff that I haven't seen or don't remember. But right off the get go, you see that over his shoulder, and it's like Leo with the cigarette, like that. There it is. So you see that.
There's
you
Mandalorian armor that was there.
Full set of Mandalorian armor.
I noticed that one off the rip.
I don't think that was anyone in particular. I think it was just Mandalorian.
I think it was just Mandalorian armor, yeah.
Holocrons just lying
all over the place. There was one that was over him on the workbench today in the episode. That big one? This massive holocron. It was wild.
Did you see what else was next to that holocron on the workbench?
There was a cube.
So there's these 2 blocks. I'll read it per. It's easy to miss.
Is this
but
from today?
This is from today's episode when they're in the back in the shop and he's on the radio. But next to the Jedi and Sith holocron are 2 of the Sankara stones from Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom.
Isn't Indy's whip frozen in carbonite?
Frozen in carbonite in episode 4. You can see Indy's whip curled up and frozen in carbonite.
I love that.
Yeah,
that's
that's
cool.
Yeah, it's just cool nods to Indy. I love
that.
And everyone, there are people that are like
dun, 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 dun,
immersion breaking, blah 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 blah.
That's so cool.
So we have that.
What were the things that the assistant took the driver over to look at? What were those?
The tablets?
Were those of any significance?
You're going to hate what the tablets are, Tim.
Oh, please don't tell me it's the prophecy of Darth Jar Jar.
No, it's the tablets, the hand tablets about the world between worlds.
Yes. Why would I hate that? That's so sick.
You always get upset when I break into that.
Because your theory crafting for that pisses me off. I hate your theory crafting when it comes to that. But I want to know more about this shit. That's so awesome.
I don't know if they're the exact ones from the Clone War or from the Rebels episodes.
Who cares?
But it would mean, think about it. If it is the ones from Rebels, it would mean that at some point Sidious gets them from Luthen.
Yeah.
And uses them in the last season of Rebels. So
I love his shop. His shop is so cool.
And if you don't know what World Between Worlds is and you haven't seen Rebels, it's basically the veil of the Force that holds space and time together, so you can literally time travel through the Force.
It's like a fifth dimension thing.
And we know Palpatine knows how to use it.
Yeah, because he walked through it. But you're right. I really like Luthen's character. It's a lot better than him being like just some just snob. I love that he's an actor. I think that's the best thing is that he is an actor and he's getting all dressed and he's pretending and he's like when he's practicing in the bathroom when he's getting all dressed. That was really good. I like that he is when we first meet him, I think that's his true nature. I think that is really him. And then the person who's in the shop is most definitely is not his primary character. That's his alter for sure.
There's also a Twi'lek Calicori in.
I saw that
heirloom.
Yeah. The family tree.
Yeah, so they have it in the Calicori episode or in the Ryloth episodes of Clone Wars, and then doesn't Thrawn have it in his office?
Yes, he takes it from Hera's dad.
Yep, and then if you play as a Jedi in Star Wars: The Old Republic, in the opening part on what the hell's the Jedi planet that I always talk about? The one from Mandalorian.
Oh, hold on. I hate it when you do this to me.
That one.
It starts with a T.
Anyway, that
there's
planet.
An altar there. Hold on.
Yes, that one. You go to Calicori Village, and that's where all of the Twi'leks are living in Calicori Village. I can't believe I forgot the name of the planet.
This is your fault. Hold on, I'm looking.
How is it not? No, it's not Dantooine.
Doesn't it start with a T?
Oh, this is bad that we can't remember this.
I'm totally brain farting.
Tython.
I told you it started with a T.
You were right. Tython. So yeah, if you play on, you can go to Calicori Village. That was rough. Rewinding in that episode even further, when they're on the ship and it's Luthen and Cassian.
Yes.
Their conversation is Easter egg central.
Yes.
Beginning with, we'll go to that in a second. But they start talking about things. They mention, speaking of Old Republic, the Rakatan invasion.
Yeah. Okay. So when they said the Rakata, I was like, okay, Yavin 4 makes so much sense now. Like they can actually now they could say those are Rakata temples, which I thought was so sick. So that conversation canonized that, which I squealed. I was like, ee!
Because Rakata Prime was a canon planet. that was all we had.
Right.
Now they said Rakata invasion, which makes that canon on top of it.
Which makes those temples.
Yavin 4.
Makes Yavin 4 and all of that.
The Masasi and all that stuff. So that starts to come alive there, which is freaking awesome. And then it also confirms that the Rakata will not conflict with the Zepho story. They'll be their own things. So thankfully, that was my worry with the Zepho, was they were going to wipe out the Rakata background. So that's back on the table now. They mentioned Utapu, which is the planet where Obi-Wan gets turned on by his clone troopers. Utapau, sorry. I don't know how to say half the stuff in Star Wars.
I got you. That's why I'm here.
I'm a text toilet Wikipedia reader.
No, it's fine. I got you.
So it makes it all up in my head. They mention that we're seeing that there's different sects of the rebellion now.
Yes.
Because they talk shit about Saw Gerrera in this part.
Mm-hmm. Well, okay, all right. A lot of people talk shit about Saw Gerrera.
I know, but we're seeing that there's dividing lines this early on between how people are going about rebelling against the Empire.
Yes. Yeah, well, like the way she says it, everyone has their own rebellion. You know, everybody's doing it for their own reasons. Like the general overarching thing is like, we hate the fucking Empire. But then you have like all these individual reasons as to why you hate the Empire.
Yes. So just dropping pieces of knowledge, we learn what was the planet? Mimban is where Han is fighting when he meets Chewie. Yes. And we learn that Cassian was also there as a cook.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. Uh-huh.
So they were both on the same.
He said he was serving.
Right. And we also meet one of the Mimbans for the first time in Star Wars. What was the flight stick game that we just played?
Oh, right. That was Squadrons. That he was.
Yeah, we meet one of the Mimbans.
Which hold on.
The one with the weird looking face and the bug eyes.
The redskin one.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're Mimban. We meet the Mimbans in the game. So just all of this, that was like almost like a dump. Like I was like, whoa, they're saying too much too fast. Mm-hmm. And it was pretty. They mentioned Scarif that's in the ISB part. They mentioned Scarif. And then in this week's episode, they mentioned Jakku during one of the ISB stuff. So it's just like,
yeah, that was really good.
Yeah, they keep mentioning stuff, and Mon Mothma mentions Gorman, which is from this old X-Wing and Rebellion games. It's just fun.
Oh my God! Can we talk about how awkward her marriage is?
Yeah, I have that to talk about, and I have the ISB introduction. But we can talk about Mon Mothma. First of all, it's so good to have Genevieve O'Reilly back. Second of all, wow, what a shitty marriage!
Oh my God, they really need counseling.
Is it for show?
New people.
Like who is he?
Okay. So it's an arranged marriage.
So I didn't know this.
Yeah,
okay.
So that's the whole that is a Chandrillan thing, is for arranged marriages. And so yeah, he doesn't really like her. And you can tell by him inviting all these senators that talk shit about his wife. Like that right there was just so awkward. She's like, why are you inviting these people? They hate me. He's like, well, maybe you'll get along with them. Maybe you won't. Who knows? Like that is so shitty. And then the daughter, oh my gosh.
Oh, in this week's episode,
daughter issues to the max. But that is like, I'm curious to see when she breaks off from, or when they dissolve the Senate and she becomes who she is, this leader. I wonder what happens with him, because I don't remember him being in Aftermath.
He is 100%.
Do you remember him in Aftermath?
No, he's definitely an Empire sympathizer.
She didn't have they don't talk about a husband or a lover in anything for Mon Mothma in Aftermath, right?
I mean, if they're getting separated, I could see why she would never speak of him again.
I mean, he's like, wow, that guy's really shitty.
I could see the daughter getting a character like change over time emotionally, but the husband, no, that guy's either gonna die or he's gonna end up as like ratting her out.
That's what I think could happen.
Yeah, no, he's definitely an Empire sympathizer.
Yeah, or he is just out for his own ass. Like that's it. Like he's only gonna cover himself and his daughter and nobody else, because they definitely have a relationship.
Alex and Molly transcribed the full Orbesh list on the pad of the guests
of
for
course
the party.
They did.
and he said only the 3 names they mention are mentioned in other stuff. We've never met those people, but they're mentioned in other stuff.
Those names sounded familiar.
The rest of the names on the list are just people that worked on the show.
That's so awesome. That's really cool.
It's just an Easter egg. There was nothing of significance. But yes,
I love
Alex,
how much care they put into that and just how much they're just playing around with that because they know people are going to look for it.
Yeah, I mean, when you get to this level, you have to put stuff in there because that's what people are going to find fun is the hunt for, further information. But yeah, her situation is shitty. The way she had to go into the shot, the way they dealt with Luthen, and obviously ISB is very suspect of her at this point. Because she mentions that she keeps getting new drivers and things of that nature. And her husband seems to be the one that's probably giving them information.
It wouldn't surprise me if ISB had already planted they already planted him. They got to him and like, hey, by the way, your wife is doing some sketchy shit. And he's like, oh, I already hate this bitch anyway. So let's do it. Yeah. So yeah. Oh man, what a scumbag. I don't like this guy.
I think that's the point.
True. He does a great job. He also has a top knot. He looks very Shogun-esque. I was noticing that with his garbs, like everything. It felt very like traditional Japanese style wear, which I think is cool because we've never seen the high end life of someone who lives on Coruscant. We saw it from like going to like Padme's apartment, and we saw the Chancellor, and we've seen other senators walk around, but we've never just seen like casual life for a senator or anyone of any importance or someone who has a lot of money in Coruscant, which is really cool. And like that was the other thing you and I were talking about before or last night that you wanted to bring up was the ISB headquarters is another part of Coruscant that we've just never seen. Also, like the apartments. This guy from wherever.
Former Inspector Karn, but
the former inspector, he's living with his mom now. And so we're going somewhere with this guy. I want
to know who the uncle is.
I want to know who the uncle is and why this mom thinks he's so important. And he definitely has some type of vendetta against Cassian. So I don't think he's going to be the primary bad guy, but I think he's going to end up being some type of like anti-hero for this show.
Can I tell you that his mom reminds me of so many of my friends' mothers from Long Island?
Yeah, from New York. I had that vibe.
So many. I felt like I was
such a disappointment.
Like, holy shit.
Like, do you want some matzah with some butter?
Oh, wow.
That's what it felt like.
Can't afford anything else and can't get nice wine for your mother.
Yeah. Pass me a Virginia Slim.
Yeah, she's kind of a bitch. She was from Harry Potter, by the way, if you remember. So that was in it's Order of the Phoenix. It's in Order of the Phoenix where he gets attacked when Harry gets attacked at the beginning by the Dementors. Mm-hmm. She's the nice old lady. She's like, "Don't put your wand away, Harry."
Oh, yeah. Okay. I like that. Yeah. That's fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, so Karn's. Oh, I'm just waiting on that one. There's not much to talk about there. Aside
Do you think he'll become like a bounty hunter or something?
I don't know. I don't know where they're going. I need to know who the uncle is before I start making assumptions. But I have a feeling the uncle's either someone we know or maybe someone from Legends that they're going to bring back, and it's not the right name. Like the uncle's name is an alias that we're hearing right now. So
what was he saying about his uncle wanted him to? Oh, he was saying he didn't study the teachings of his uncle.
Yeah.
What the fuck, dude?
Yeah, there's something there that
his uncle runs a cult.
I hope so. Could you imagine if they start introducing the Vader cult?
He does something. He's culty. Why does he have teachings?
So we'll see. Vader was in Rogue One. It wouldn't be too remiss to see Vader in an episode of Andor.
An early Vader. I mean, like that would make sense. I mean, like we are a little. Are we ahead of Obi-Wan?
We are right around the same time, give or take a year or two on either side.
Seeing a Vader, like honestly, I really dig this show not having any type of like Jedi, like traditional Star Wars stuff to it. I really like all these new characters. And it's just like this dark wartime vibe. They're really hidden. I just wish they would. This episode, I will say, this episode was heavy filler. It was it was definitely stuff that they could have either put in the last episode and just made last episode longer.
It's literally, Tim,
It's a filler episode.
It takes place a year after Obi-Wan.
Okay, that's what I thought. I was like, they're really close together. I just couldn't remember which one came first.
Yeah, because Obi-Wan was 6 years before A New Hope. This is 5.
Yeah, so see, yeah, and then this butts right up against Rogue One because it'll drop us off right at Rogue One, and Rogue One is days before Episode 4.
Yeah, he'll be walking into that mining facility on the planet in the beginning of Rogue One to talk to the contact
at the end of season 2.
100%.
Yeah,
100%. Because then, like we keep saying, you can start with Episode 1 and go right into the trilogy.
Mm-hmm.
No questions asked. No,
so what do you think about this blue or this Kyber sky crystal? What the fuck's that about?
I think it's just exactly what he said. It was a down payment because he didn't want to give him credits right there.
I feel like there's more to it though. Like that's a really cool Kyber crystal that we've never seen before. Like this like white and then the blue tip and stuff. Like there's got to be something to that, right? There's got to be more because Luthen was like, I'm going to come back for that.
Did it have something to do with the Death Star?
No, I don't think so.
Yeah, I figured it was just like, we know what a Kyber crystal is. This one seems to be extra special, so it's worth X.
I think there's more to Luthen than what meets the eye.
Oh, there's more. We haven't learned about him.
Like, yeah, like why would he have that in his possession? He has so many holocrons. Like there's just like he's more than just a collector. He has to have connections and people that he knew and like all these things. I want to know his story.
Keep in mind, if he seems to be a historian of some note, right? He's keeping history and preserving it. We're in the time period now where Palpatine is actively trying to erase the memory of the Jedi.
Sure.
Because by the time we get to New Hope, it's an ancient religion. It's an ancient Hokie religion.
An ancient Hokie religion, and you're all that's left, my friend.
Yeah, so we're in the process of the propaganda machine trying to erase the memory of the Jedi. So it could just be Luthen trying to make sure that he preserves the knowledge, which other people are doing across the galaxy. We see that in numerous pieces of content, but he's just one of those people trying to preserve that memory.
It's so funny that he calls it an ancient religion. And you are all that's left. Like, and like that's the crazy thing is like it isn't like it's an old teaching, but like the Jedi had only been gone for like 50 years, not even. Less than that. Not even 20. Sorry, 16. Well, how old is Luke technically in episode 4? He's 16. Like 17, so not even 20 years. So like the whispers and tales of the Jedi were still very fresh.
On Coruscant, though, for the main part, because remember when they go to certain parts of the galaxy, people are like, "Oh, I've heard of you before." They've never actually seen one.
Yeah, but so many of those people saw the Jedi. Like they're like 20 years isn't really that long. Like there are definitely still people who remember seeing Jedi walk the streets.
But again, if you're scared enough to not talk about it,
I guess it's very interesting. Like when you really start to like listen to like what they said, and then like you try to build that entire picture. I mean, I think you're right. I think they tried really, really hard to just extinguish any and all thoughts of the Jedi, so they make it seem like it's something that has been around for hundreds of years.
In the fun Easter egg hunt, Mon Mothma's daughter is actually from Legends. She just was introduced on screen for the first time, or even in a picture. She's only mentioned in Legends, but she is lifted from Legends, which I thought was cool. They mentioned a bunch of other planets in this episode. So they mentioned Hosnian Prime.
Yeah, I thought that was cool.
Which, if you're reading Old Republic, there's a ton of stuff. Also, Force Awakens. Fondor, which is a major Imperial shipyard, and it would make sense for them to steal technology from there. And then they mentioned Jakku, as we said earlier in this episode. And in the previous one, we said they mentioned Scarif, Chandrilla, which is where Mon Mothma was from.
Could you imagine if we went to Hosnian Prime, though?
It'd be awesome.
So cool.
That would
be all fucked up.
And then before we go to the Rebels, we can go
that would be so cool.
The ISB. So there seems to be lots of competition within the ISB. No surprise, to be honest, but it's just cool to see them arguing and squabbling. Everything is about numbers and quotas. There's
So I didn't realize they were more like cops.
They're intelligence.
They're intelligence officers, which made me think they were like CIA, but they have quotas to hit, which makes me like in my head, that there are certain levels within the ISB where they're just treated like street cops.
How else are you going to crush a rebellion, Tim?
But
Come on.
that's the whole thing. I had no idea the ISB was that in, like, as far as levels go. Like, I just always thought it was just like an FBI agency or it was the CIA. Like, it's like now, like, understanding that it's political on top of that is crazy, because the whole idea of the ISB was to be neutral, because they were supposed to go find people within like the politicians and within the government. They were supposed to be like uncorrupt. Like, that's the whole thing. Like, they even talk about that in Thrawn. They actually talk about it a lot in Thrawn because he has ISB friends. And yeah, I thought that was really interesting, and it's so political.
Oh yeah, no, it's just walking all over each other, shit talking in front of their superior officer, Partagas, I think his name was. He's also the Cersei's maester from Game of Thrones. Remember when she has her own maester that puts the mountain back together and makes a zombie mountain? Yeah, that's him. And then, yeah, Lieutenant Supervisor Blevin is the gentleman that she's trying to get the information from, who won't give it up because he's fighting for it. I forget her name. I'm trying to find it.
Is he the guy who was in this episode who was like, "Do you want this?"
Yeah, the hotel.
Yep.
So yeah, the ISB is going to be interesting. I don't know if we'll see any characters of note in the ISB, but I'm sure we'll get more Easter eggs as they continue talking and going over stuff. But
who is
this
the
woman,
one ISB agent from Aftermath? You know who I'm talking about. Anyway, that'd be cool if they end up like bringing him in, or like just like mention him. It would make sense. The timing would be right. He'd be like a young ISB officer.
I mean, the one person I think we could see, and I don't know if he's ISB yet, is Yularen.
I think he's already in the Navy, though.
At some point, he moves from the Navy to ISB. He's Imperial Intelligence.
I think that's later on, though.
When does the first Thrawn book take place? Because Yularen is ISB in the first Thrawn book.
It takes place right around now.
So we could see him, especially with the time jump coming.
Thrawn is currently, I was thinking about this the other day. Yeah. So Thrawn currently would be like going through, he would either be finishing up his Navy training, like his accelerated course that he was on, or he's already like on his first couple of missions. But yeah, he's fresh. Oh, dude, could you imagine?
Could they introduce Thrawn in this like, and then it would lead into meeting him in Ahsoka?
Bro, I didn't even think about that. They could totally just like, you could see a Chiss walk by, and they wouldn't like, you don't say anything about it. It's just like, was that a Pantoran? But if he's like in Navy uniform, oh my God, Kevin.
Or he could walk by and they could make a comment about he's some sort of dirty, disgusting alien because
because they talk so much shit about him. Ooh.
Yeah. So
shit.
I think it'd be interesting to see if this leads to an Easter egg here, or if it's just more. I'm fine with it not. I'm fine with it just being ISB. We could see a young, what's his name from Mandalorian too?
Who?
Giancarlo Esposito's character.
Oh, a Moff Gideon.
Yes, thank you. We could see a young Moff Gideon.
Yeah, I mean, I guess you could. Yeah, if you just want to like make like fun little nods for people. Yeah.
I mean, he's part of ISB at this point because he's involved in he's already destroyed Mandalore.
Not yet.
No.
Whoa. Oh, I guess I guess technically
that was years before.
It's right around that time. No, the destruction of Mandalore doesn't happen until after Rebels, and the Rebels time is like coming up, because Rebels is right around the time that they're building the Death Star. So right now is the time when Bo-Katan is getting the Darksaber from Sabine. So all of that happens after Episode 4.
Right. Okay, you're right. All right, so he would be ISB now, probably.
Yeah, I mean, he'd be doing something. Yeah.
So we could see a younger version of him.
There's
we could
so much shit going on right now, and you would only know if you watched Rebels and you read the books. Like, that's the part that is just like, there is so much shit happening behind the scenes.
They could also mention them by name. They could put their name up on a screen in Aurebesh and wait for the community to figure it out. Stuff like that.
I love this show just because they're leaning so much into just the nerd culture.
Yeah. I mean, talking about the rebels on Aldhani at this point,
Yeah.
So Aldani's a new planet, and basically it was formerly a nomadic people that seemed to be somewhat religious that the Empire is basically driven off of this planet. And we have one traitorous lieutenant who fell in love with a woman from the planet, and apparently she was killed. Also, they're not shying away from talking about people being killed or talking about people like sex and stuff. Because in this episode, when he's looking at the one girl,
she shares a blanket.
she's already sharing a blanket with somebody. I was like, all right. And she's with Val. You can tell she's with Val.
Yeah.
So
What do you think they're gonna go off and do?
I mean, it's part of the plan.
But they won't tell anybody about it. That's the best part, and I think that's smart because what if they get captured?
Exactly. That's
interrogated.
why.
It's like as long as nobody knows that everybody else is doing, kind of that Marvel.
Yep.
technique.
So, yeah, we'll see what happens with that. I think we're gonna get the full heist next week, which will be wild.
We
and
better
fun.
because if it's another filler episode or a build up to the heist, I'm gonna be pissed.
I mean, that's been the problem with Rings of Power was you expected episode 4 to be the action, and they waited until episode 6 to drop in the action. And now it's great. Like, we're off to the races, but that buildup was just like really slow and painful. And I'm hoping Andor does not do that as well.
They really wanted to show how many Imperial credits were just sitting in there too. Like they really wanted you to understand that like this is the equivalent of robbing a train.
Yeah, it's a train robbery.
And
That's
I think
what it
that's
is.
so cool. And like I really hope that they keep this Western-esque style because it fits so well. And that's what I love so much about Solo. Because Solo had that vibe too, like the leaning into the pirate, portion of Star Wars and like that Western vibe. Like that's what was for me. That's what was so much fun about Solo. I didn't care that they were like it wasn't the original actors or whatever bullshit people were coming up with. Like they were trying to do something new. And now I can see like now that we're getting the full picture. Now it's like those movies, Rogue One and Solo, set the bar for what they wanted to do for these shows, and now they just have the ability. They have the breadth to do that now, which is great.
Yep. Yeah. No, it's weird because like normally a heist would be at the end of a season, but it's going to become the mid-season, episode 6, which means there's still a bunch they want us to know about the story. So I'm excited to see what the fallout is from that and how that plays into the future. Because I have no idea where the story's going. I couldn't even pinpoint it for you. There's so many twists and turns and
but if they do a couple of these
understand.
heists, they just do a couple of these neat jobs, like Italian job style things, you've got a great show.
Oh yeah, no, I'm excited because this is not going to be the only one. They're going to do more to see where they go with it. Catching up on the Easter eggs for episode 5, so we had a few.
Yeah.
Blue milk in the cereal that Karn was drinking. On the milk subject too, in the camp they introduced a new milk. They called it Dre milk, which is apparently the Star Wars equivalent of yak milk, which is I'm assuming is the goat-like creatures that they had, and very healthy apparently.
Like, you can live off this, like my ass.
Skeen has a tattoo, and they call it he's a crate head. Which obviously
was in his chest.
Right, the barcode. So it might be some gang from Tatooine. There's really no information on this, yes.
And then the one that was on his forearm was the way of the hand or by the hand.
Yeah, which I found no information on. So
well, I mean, like, okay, so could that wasn't there a hand? Isn't there a hand gang? Isn't there a gang in Star Wars that has a hand?
Hand gang Star Wars.
Oh
No.
God. Okay, I got gang symbols with Boba Fett, so that didn't work out.
No.
Category:
No.
criminal organizations. Let's take a look. We got Shadow Collective, Hutt Clan, Hutt Cartel, the Twins, Jabba's, the Guavian Death Gang. There's a lot of. Oh my gosh, there's a bunch.
Yeah.
I'm
Kanja
looking.
Club.
Is there anything to do with hand? Hand of Judgment is one.
Now, there were assassins in the Old Republic that were hands of the Emperor, but I don't think Skeen would be.
This gang. So the Hand of Judgment is a group of 5 stormtrooper deserters who performed multiple vigilante operations across the Galactic Empire months following the Battle of Yavin. Okay, so that doesn't work.
That's not
so
them.
maybe it's just something new.
Yeah, which is fine.
That's dope.
New is cool.
New is good.
New is good. So we learned a little bit about him. It raises more questions than anything. And then I told you about the Indiana Jones thing. So the last big Easter egg is the astronavigational unit.
Yeah.
That the one guy, I forget his name, shows to Cassian. And basically it's manual navigation unit, pre-Empire. And that's what they're going to use to get off of the planet.
It's like the old Starfinders from Marco Polo times.
Yeah, because it'll be locked. If they try and use the Imperial technology, they won't be able to use it. So this is how they're going to get off the planet. And then he goes into a whole thing about how he's writing a manifesto. For the rebellion and how he's liking it to, freedom. And I thought that was interesting and cool because that's the type of person that this would attract.
This also resonates very well with things that are going on around the world, which I think is like really interesting too.
Which the director said, there would be overtones of that, So it's been interesting to see how they're taking real life feelings around the world and kind of injecting it into.
But they're doing it very gently so that you can it's there, but they're not like cramming it down your throat or like making it like the only thing they're going to focus on for like that show, like for the show, right? Which is nice. It's just like it's just the sense of it. You just feel it throughout just through the dialogue. The dialogue has been phenomenal. Whoever was the writer for this has done just a great job.
Yeah. No, this has been well produced, well written, and I mean, we got like 7 more episodes, which is super exciting. And it feels like we've gotten so much.
Yeah, and like that's why like this one was okay. Like there was enough where I was like, okay, that was enough. I wish there was the action. That was probably the only part that was missing. It was just like I was hoping for something.
Yep. Yeah.
I thought the TIE fighter was gonna do something. Other they were
they seem useless.
Well, that was the whole thing. He just kind of just skimmed right by. But I was hoping for something. But Kyler was walking by. He's like, "Oh, what's that?" It's like, "That's a TIE fighter." He's like, "Oh, that's a TIE fighter."
It sounded like the guy that eats the spicy gummy bear on TikTok. So good. So Star Wars news for the week. Officially, James Earl Jones will no longer be acting anymore, which means that his time as Darth Vader has come to an end.
I find your lack of faith disturbing.
He'll be back. No, I was kidding. I just really wanted to use that clip.
He recorded a bunch of Vader lines for Lucas, so they should be set, he said, for a while.
But that's the cool thing is that they proved a concept with Obi-Wan. And the concept is that we can now use AI and we can simulate your voice with enough learning. It can simulate your voice, which is really crazy and scary. But at the same time, they were able to pull that off. And the man's 90. And like it's so cool that now we have this iconic voice who's done, so many different roles for so many of beloved characters, from generations before us and now ours and for the future as well, which is really cool that his voice gets to continue to just live on forever.
Yep. Yeah. So it's sad to see him go, but he's definitely giving the future beyond his time here the ability for the character to grow.
Like that, I think hurt the character. I think that hurt Darth Vader as an overall presence because you could tell that James Earl Jones was old. They just didn't do it, and they didn't do any they didn't try to do anything to his voice other than like the normal modulation. It felt like they didn't try to like deepen his voice or like to do anything to it, which I thought was kind of strange. But it's I think that right there was like, oh, we need to do something so that it doesn't happen like that again. Because Darth Vader is a character. Darth Vader is not James Earl Jones. James Earl Jones gets to be Darth Vader, but Darth Vader gets to live on for forever.
And the folks from Respeecher are based in the Ukraine, and they were the ones responsible for archiving James Earl Jones's voice as Vader. And Disney was willing to give them an extension. And they basically were like, no, fuck Russia. We're going to finish this. That's
so
important. Awesome. And I did not wear this shirt on purpose today,
that's
but
fantastic.
I'm wearing my
that's good.
Enforce Ukraine shirt. But yeah, so that was a cool part of the story as well. To see the resilience there and the commitment to, a cultural icon.
Yeah.
You know, he doesn't have much time left. So the fact that he was willing to do, or they were willing to do that is awesome, to make sure that generations to come can enjoy the voice of Darth Vader the same way that we have.
So I mean, like now we've seen like what they're able to do with like Luke Skywalker in Mandalorian or in Boba
It's
Fett.
only going to get easier and cheaper.
That's the thing, is like now we're gonna have these actors that, you know, are gonna their original characters are gonna be able to come back. You know, much like when like the ripped out of his mind Arnold Schwarzenegger came back in Terminator, and it was like old Arnold versus like ripped Arnold, and like that was pretty crazy to see that happen, and it looked really real. And now it's just gonna keep on continuing to get better and better, to the point of where we're gonna be like, we're not gonna know if that is the actor or not anymore. Like, that's crazy. Like, that is absolutely insane to me that Luke Skywalker from episode 6 can continue to live on and be in other pieces of medium now, you know, and Mark Hamill won't have to try to do any of that. It's going to be all automated, which is just mind blowing to me.
And it'll be how Marvel and DC do the same thing. You know, they're going to bring, you want Chris Evans to make a cameo in the multiverse as Captain America from that era with whoever the new Captain America is in 2037. Cool. Well,
like,
this is how we're gonna do it.
What does that mean for just cinema in general, though? Like, I'm sure we could go down the rabbit hole for this one, but
I think it's going to be mainly used to reincarnate people. I don't think it'll be used as a replacement, because you're still going to need the original performance to
almost definitely
set the tone for who the character is. Because if you go back and watch James Earl Jones talking about how he got the role of Vader, it's very interesting, because David Prowse, who was in the costume, was actually supposed to be the voice as well, but Lucas was not feeling it. So he's like, I want someone with a deep, you know, booming voice. And then they brought James in. He auditioned. They said yes. And then James apparently even changed the character further with the way he spoke it, and then just played off of David Prowse's mannerisms. And that's how Vader came to be. It had a lot to do with James Earl Jones being in the booth, seeing him and saying, I think we should do this instead. And if you start plopping CGI in and AI to be those characters, you're going to lose that. It's the same thing that how they made Lord of the Rings, where Ian McKellen and the guy who played Saruman, Christopher Lee, are sitting there with the books in their hand. Yeah. Like, no, you can't do this. This is the line from the Silmarillion that we're going to follow this. Telling Peter Jackson, like, no. You know, Christopher Lee had like 278 edits to his script day one, and said he refused to do the movie unless they made the edits, because he's the only actor on set who knew Tolkien. Yeah. So it's just cool stuff like that. And you lose that if you start injecting AI. You won't have the actor's commitment, you know, to that, especially when you're retelling a story or you're bringing up, you know, or using source material that's not yours.
You're right.
So I don't think I'll ever replace it, but it'd be very good for keeping these characters alive as, you know, we go along. So
most definitely.
Yeah, Henry Cavill did the same thing on the Witcher set. He was sitting there like, in page 253 of this Witcher book, and everyone's like, sucks. God, you're annoying, Henry, but sure, we'll change it.
Do you think he's a method actor too? Like, he just stays Geralt the whole time.
I didn't realize, by the way, till last night that we're Witchers technically in
we
Rings
are
of Power
Witchers.
D&D.
Yeah, we're rune casters.
That's so cool.
Yeah. I always end up going with Geralt for any of my D&D characters, apparently.
Hell yeah!
Every time. Every character I've ever done in any of our D&D campaigns just ends up being Geralt.
Except your chimney sweep.
No, yeah, you're right. No, he was a demon slayer.
Was he? I thought he was a mage. No, I was a mage. I was a fire mage.
He was a demon slaying chimney sweep.
Step in time!
Step in time! Come on, mateys.
All right, before we get out of here,
your demons.
New
step in time.
Old Republic book, Path of Deceit, is out. We get to learn the mysterious new character, the mother, not Abeloth, but this new mother. Tim and I will be a little bit delayed in starting it because I have an hour and a half left in Thrawn, and he has time left in Shadow of the Sith. And we want to finish those books before we start this.
I will finish it this week. I will
finish Thrawn before Friday, and I will start Path of Deceit this weekend.
We'll start it. We'll talk about it next week.
So yeah, we'll start talking about it, and we'll start piecing it in here. I mean, we got 7 more episodes of Andor, and then we'll talk about Path of Deceit. And then, we go into the holidays. We'll have some Star Wars announcements for you for what's going down for Mandalorian and whatnot coming up. So it's going to be pretty exciting. Like we said, make sure you hang out Tuesday nights, Captain Robear's Twitch channel. We're doing Rings of Power D&D. We have been in a battle now for two sessions. And we are still not done.
And we ended with a cliffhanger. Well, because you wanted to stay and fight the wargs.
Yeah, well, yeah, I wouldn't have been able to use the Cloud Rune with that awesome move where I dodged out of the way.
You almost died.
Well,
twice.
Barrelin is dead at the moment, so
I'm glad I rolled a D20 though.
Especially after I rolled a 1.
I rolled a 1 and hit you with my axe. Oh, sorry.
Yes, and I rolled a 20 earlier.
You see, we're like giving you spoilers. You guys should come see this live. It's hilarious.
It's so much fun.
I almost team killed Kevin.
Yes, which is so on brand.
So
we're doing that on Tuesday nights. Thursday mornings, we're doing Rings of Power Watch Party, 10:30 a.m. my time. Again, you can just follow Rare Drop to check all of this out.
Are you gaming tonight?
We are doing Star Wars and Scotch game night. I'm going to be playing SWOTOR again. Next week, we're going to be moving to a new game. I don't know which SWOTOR. I'm probably going to play on my Mandalorian again. I think so. Yeah, I'm going to play on my Mandalorian again tonight. So we'll do some game night. We'll talk about Andor. We'll talk about this episode of Star Wars and Scotch if you want. And then, we'll be back next week. Make sure you head over to Tim's Facebook channel, fe.gg/darkness429, Monday through Friday, 9 a.m.-ish Eastern. What are you playing today?
I have no idea. I played the Mortuary's assistant yesterday, and that was terrifying. So... yeah, we're doing Spooktober games, not every day, but like once or twice a week. So the next one I'm gonna do is Alien Isolation because I haven't played that in forever. Also the Dark Picture anthologies, 2 of the Dark Picture anthologies got an update. So Little Hope, which is phenomenal. If you've never played it, go play it. And then Man of Medan also got an update. So they're visual updates, so everything looks freaking amazing. And then the mechanics were updated to be more up to date with all the other Dark Picture anthology games.
Are you gonna play Scorn, or is that too dark for you?
Scorn comes out on the 14th, and that looks really good. That looks like Doom on crack. And
it reminds me of like H.R. Geiger's art.
Yeah, it most definitely has. Yeah, it's got that vibe for sure. But it's got like this FPS Doom kind of feel, and I'm feeling it. So yeah, that comes out on the 14th, so we'll be playing that.
All right. Well, again, fe.gg/darkness429, darkness429, everywhere else on the interwebs. I'm usually in there too, so if you want to sass me.
What's great is people come in, they're like, what did you think of this week's episode? And I was like, perfect time to go listen to Star Wars and Scotch.
That's what you should do. You should do that. You should also follow Star Wars and Scotch. We're on Twitter and Facebook. And then everything I do is on Rare Drop and TikTok. Yep. Star Wars and Scotch is on TikTok. Kevin X Vision on Twitter, KMagic101 on Instagram, and raredrop.co for everything we do. Again, but come back next week. We'll be talking about more Andor, and hopefully we see you in some of the other content that we've mentioned before. But until then, Tim,
may the Force be with you.